Hello everyone, welcome to a brand new video at Beyond the Cloud. Today we are going to talk about AWS SAM and AWS CDK together. In my previous two videos, I have explained why SAM is required and why CDK is required. Both are similar in many ways and they have differences as well. So what if we combine both of them and get a powerful tool? Like in CDK, we can provision infrastructure as code, but we cannot test them locally. In SAM, we can very well test our serverless functions with Docker container. It will run just similar environment like cloud. Then we can deploy it either with CDK or with code pipeline. Pretty cool, right? In this video, we will provision a simple Lambda function with CDK. We will test it with SAM and deploy it again with CDK. We will mainly use Python as a programming language in this video, but you are free to choose any language you want, and this is the fun of CDK. If you are new to this video, if you are new to this channel as well, kindly subscribe and comment your thoughts. Please share this video as well. If you subscribe, you will get notification when there will be a new video in this channel. So we can go now and check out the tutorial.
Welcome to the theory part of AWS SAM and CDK together. I have made a very short introduction video. First of all, we have to understand why do we need AWS SAM and AWS CDK to work together. They can work differently, they can work separately, but why do we need both to work together? Both can initialize, build and deploy services in AWS. See, I have not used testing in my command because with CDK, we cannot test our services locally, but SAM can. You can refer to my earlier tutorial about SAM on how we can test functions locally. So we need to have infrastructure as code with CDK, which is an approach to manage in IT infrastructure by writing and managing code to automate the provisioning, deployment and configuration of infrastructure resources such as servers, networks and storage. With infrastructure as code, the infrastructure is defined and managed using code, enabling teams to automate and standardize their infrastructure management, improving consistency and agility. Now our infrastructure is ready and developer or operations deployed that into production using the supported language of their own. They have the unit tested together and they are very much confident about it. Now in one of the scenario, we have our users who cannot use our application or one particular functionality of our application because our application or functionality failed. But why? We have tested our application and our developers were confident. But still, we have not tested in real life scenario in cloud. This is where SAM comes into picture. With SAM and CDK, we can build, test, deploy AWS resources most efficiently, which is less error prone. So on one hand, we have CDK, which can be used for building infrastructure as code using familiar programming languages like TypeScript, JavaScript, Python, Java, and .NET. CDK enables developer to define infrastructure resources in code using a high-level object model that is designed to be easy to use and understand. On the other hand, we have SAM, which can be very handy to test the functions before deployment for an efficient way of development. And this is why these two work together better. Okay, now let's move to the practical and see everything happening in real life. So to follow through this SAM and CDK tutorial together, we need to have installed couple of dependencies, just like the SAM and CDK. So first dependency is the AWS account. We need to have a free account for this SAM and CDK working together and to deploy our infrastructure as code. We need to have AWS CLI installed in our machine. We need to have Docker installed in our machine because before deploying, we want to test it. That is what the main part of this video. We need to have SAM CLI installed in our machine. As we will be doing the whole tutorial in Python, So we need to have Python also installed in our machine. I have used Python 3.10 in my local machine, and we need to have AWS CDK library installed in our machine. So don't be scared. I will be giving all the link and description how to install that in the description box. Please follow through it. Also, I would recommend please go through my previous two videos where I have introduced AWS CDK, how it works as infrastructure as code, and we have deployed couple of resources with CDK. And also I have another video where I have introduced AWS SAM and how it works, how we can locally test the function there. So it would be beneficial if you also go through the SAM tutorial. So if you go through the SAM and CDK tutorial before, it would be easier for you to follow through this tutorial as well. And the last very important part is the one where we need the access key and secret key of a particular AWS account where we need to deploy our resources. So I have already configured this access key and secret key in my terminal. So let's go and validate that one. So if we go back to our terminal and I type in AWS configure, it's showing me the access key ending with P5W3. This is this one, and also the if we enter, it is showing the secret key is ending with PJMV. So this is this one. So this is the one that I have already configured. So if you have not configured this one yet, please do configure that. Now inside the terminal, so if we remember from our CDK tutorial, how to initialize a CDK project. So for initializing a CDK project, we need to give command CDK init, and we have to specify one language on which language we want to do our application, or on which language we want to build up our infrastructure as code. I have cleared the screen one more time, and next we will be initializing a CDK project. So the steps will be, we will be creating one CDK project using Python, and we will build up the Lambda, and we will test it using SAM, and then we will deploy it again with AWS CDK. So first, if we remember from the previous tutorial of AWS CDK, how to initialize a CDK project, there is a command called CDK init. But CDK init will only work if there are empty folder. So first of all, I have to create an empty folder. So I will name it as CDK underscore SAM, because CDK and SAM working together. So our CDK SAM folder is ready. Now go inside of it. So we are inside CDK underscore SAM folder, and within this folder there is nothing. So right now we will initialize our sample application here. So the command is CDK init, and we want one sample app, and we want the language as Python. So if we give this command, AWS will create, or the terminal will create its own CDK SAM library, and it will create the own project, a sample project which has one Lambda or one SQS queue maybe. We will look into this. And then also it will ask me to create one virtual environment for all the dependencies to be installed. So if you remember from our CDK tutorial, that virtual environment is very much needed if we are working in a multiple project simultaneously. So for one project, the virtual environment, all the requirements for the project will be installed to that particular virtual environment itself. So this is very much important. So we will also do that. So to do that, already it is the instruction is given that we have to run this to create the virtual environment. We will copy this one. Now the virtual environment has been created, and to activate, so after creation we have to activate the virtual environment, and then we give this command. I see one E is missing, so this will activate the virtual environment. Right now, after this, whatever the requirements we will be creating or we will be installing, it will be installed in this particular virtual environment. Now let's open the project into our IDE. So I have opened the project inside IntelliJ IDEA. You can choose whatever IDE you want to use. So for this, this is the README file where it says how to install the dependencies and everything. So we have done that. Now the next part, I will show you, I will go through the file once and I will explain what it is. So this one is internal to IntelliJ IDEA, and this is the virtual environment that we have created. All the dependencies will be installed here. Please look into the library. Currently only Python 3.0 is installed, but it will eventually increase the dependencies. And also we have this CDK SAM stack. This one is created, and okay, it is asking me to configure the Python interpreter. So I will choose the Python interpreter as this one, and then the error will gone. So this is the stack that is created, and we have one sample queue that is there, and from that queue it is also creating one topic, and from that topic it is subscribing to that particular queue. Actually this queue this is creating, so it is creating one SQS queue, it is creating one SNS topic, and within that topic it is subscribing the queue. That's all fine. This is the default one that AWS gives, but we will also create one Lambda function and test the Lambda function using SAM and deploy it together. And then we have test for unit testing our application. And the most important part is the app.py. So this will initialize the stack, CDK SAM stack. So if we see the import part here, it is importing the stack, everything from the stack, and it is deploying. It is doing synth and it will deploy. And this is very much important where it says CDK-SAM. So this will be required to invoke the function locally. Then we have CDK JSON, which is a kind of dependency converter, and then we have requirements.txt. Where it shows that to install dependency or to use this project, we need to install these dependencies in our project. So we need to install these dependencies where the requirement.txts are. To install the dependency, we have very simple command. If you remember from our previous tutorial of CDK, I will first clear the screen so that it is much visible for you, and maybe increase the font a bit. Then we will install the dependency. So to install the dependency, we have pip install -r requirements.txt. So it will refer to the requirements.txt, and whatever inside of it, it will install. And remember, it will install inside the virtual environment, so no other projects is hampered. So this is done. So if we go back to our IntelliJ IDEA and open the VM, we can see in library right now lots of other things has been deployed inside the Python 3.0 folder. So this is what it does, the requirement.txt, and then our building is complete. Now what we'll do, we will do one time CDK synth. So CDK synth. So CDK synth will create one template output file or one CloudFormation template, which will show that the resources need to be deployed, or the resources will be deployed into the AWS account. So we will do CDK synth now. Okay, now our CDK synth is completed, and we see if we go up, we see that under resources section, couple of resources like the SQS queue has created, the queue policy is created, the SNS subscription is created, even the SNS topic itself is created. Right now there are no other things, but we will define one Lambda function there. So that's all. This is CDK synth, and if we go back to our IDE here, we can see one CDK out folder is created, and where the CDK SAM template.json is there. This is very much important for our next assessment. Now in our next section, we will build up one Lambda in this stack, and then we will test it with SAM. So let's build up the Lambda first. So our Lambda function is created now, and we see we have created the Lambda function in the self stack, and this is the Lambda function name. The runtime is Python 3.9. The code, we are asking Lambda function to get the code from lambda underscore code folder. The folder does not exist right now, but we will create it. And the handler, we have to create one lambda underscore demo underscore lambda underscore code function. This is the name of the function. And from that function, we have to create one lambda handler there. The timeout, the duration of the timeout is for the lambda is 1 minute that we have specified, and the role, currently the lambda have a read-only access role. So this is fine. Now right now the we have to create the folder lambda underscore code, otherwise our code will fail. And within that lambda we have to create one lambda function called demo lambda code. So we will create another Python file, and this demo lambda code, we need to also give this initialization here. Okay, so this is done, and inside the demo lambda code right now nothing is there. So what we need to give, we need to give some code here. I will add some code here right now. So this is my lambda code that we have generated. So whenever we will be deploying the lambda and we will test it, we will get this output with 200 return code. Now my lambda is ready, and my stack is saying my stack will pick up this lambda function from this repository. And from this repository, we have this function name called demo lambda code. This is the lambda function name, and from that we will pick up the lambda handler. Everything is ready, and there is no error in our code. What we will do right now, we have to do one-time CDK synth to build the infrastructure again. So we will do CDK synth again. So CDK synth, after CDK synth is done, we will check the resources one. Basically, we check if the function is included or not. So we see currently here our new AWS function has been included. It is creating one role, and the function name is SAM CDK together, and the handler it found runtime is 3.9 and timeout is 60 seconds. That is 1 minute that we have specified. So that's all fine. Now comes the fun part where in CDK, if you remember, we cannot test it. So we did the deployment directly. And in SAM, we tested the application. So here comes the fun part where we have built up the infrastructure in CDK now. Now we will test our infrastructure, or we will test the Lambda itself with our SAM. So this is our next step. Okay, now comes the fun part where we will be testing the application. So to test the application or to test the function, we will use a SAM. So we have used CDK to build up the infrastructure, and this is where SAM comes into picture, and we will use SAM to test the function in local. So SAM will create a Dockerized container version or a virtual machine. This is why we need to have Docker installed in our machine. And it will run the function inside the Docker container. So all we need to give now, right, is the SAM command. So please remember to give the SAM command, we need to run this particular function. So we need to grab the function name like this one, SAM-CDK, and we need to give the template JSON where it is created. So the SAM command is like SAM local invoke. So SAM needs to locally invoke which function? SAM-CDK, SAM-CDK, and then this function will have no event, and it will have a template file from where? From cdk.out folder. Which template file? This template file. So we will try to rename it, but will not do it. And then we will just paste the template file and then give a extension of JSON. Okay, so right now it is saying, okay, SAM, locally invoke this function with no event and take the template file from this out folder. Now let's see. So see here it is creating one image. Now let's go back to our Docker and refresh it. So right now it's nothing, but it will come up. If there are no error, let's check. It's still building. Okay, now it came up. So right now you see here, it's just in a rapid of in microseconds. It's the status was in progress and then unused. So that means the our function already run, and yes, our lambda function already run. It has returned the status code at 200, and the body it returned that hello from CDK and SAM together. So this is how we test our function from local before deploying. So we, on one hand, we have used CDK to create our infrastructure. On the other hand, we have used SAM now to test the function locally with before deploying. This is very cool. I really like it. And now the last part is we need to deploy. So before deploying the infrastructure into any account, we need to bootstrap that particular account in CDK. So for bootstrapping, we need to use CDK bootstrap, this command, and this command will bootstrap the infrastructure or the account in my local. So that means suppose we are going to a journey or planning for a travel, and this is just packing our bag. So I have give this particular reference in my previous tutorial as well, and I find this reference very compelling or very relatable in this scenario. So this will take some time and it will bootstrap the environment. Okay, our account is now bootstrapped. Now what we will do? We will deploy the infrastructure. So for deployment also we will use CDK deploy. I am not giving a required approval never, because I want to show you like what it will deploy. So if we give CDK deploy, it will try to deploy the infrastructure in that particular account, and before deploying, it will show that this particular IAM changes it will do. So it will create one queue, and for that queue creation, it will give one IAM principal to send the message to that queue, and also it will create the Lambda role. And for Lambda role, it will have to create this policy. So I will press yes, go ahead and create that, and it will start deploying the resources into AWS account. So the deployment is completed. Now, if we go back to our console of AWS, we can see, we can go to CloudFormation and we can check that one stack set might have created. Let's check that one. So we see that CDK SAM, this stack set is created. Now, if we go inside this stack, we go to resource. We see that our CDK metadata SQS queue is created, our SNS subscription created, and also the Lambda function is created. Now, if we go to Lambda, check the resources separately. We go to SQS, and also we go to SNS. So in the Lambda function, we can see that CDK and SAM CDK together. This is the Lambda function that we have deployed. This is the code that we asked Lambda to take. And SQS, this is the SQS queue that it has created. And within that SQS queue, we can see one SNS. This has SNS subscription. So let's go to SNS subscription, and we see that one topic is created. Within that topic, we have subscription defined, which is kind of a SQS subscription, and this is pointing to the one that we have created here. So our total infrastructure is deployed using CDK, and before deploying the infrastructure, we have also tested the application or in this function with our SAM CLI. So this is pretty cool. I really like it. Now, this is also very much important if we need to do any kind of changes in this infrastructure. All we have to do, suppose we want to change maybe the name of this function to maybe I will delete this one. So we need to change this function name. So all we have to do, we have to again do the synth, and then we can test it if it's still working. And it's still working. Yes, this is fine. And then just deploy. That's it. So this will again change the stack set that is deployed there, and it will eventually roll out the function again. So let's go back to maybe our CloudFormation and see what is happening there. So let's refresh this. I think it is already done. No, it's creating CloudFormation structure, so it is not yet came up here. Okay, now the update is in progress. Now let's see. We see the update is in progress, and if we go back to events, we see that the update is in progress. Which update is in progress? We might be able to see that CDK SAM update is in progress. And a new physical resource has been create initiation. So if we refresh it, the old lambda might get deleted and the new name lambda function will be created. So if we go back to lambda here in the functions, if we refresh this one, we see the new lambda is there, sam-cdk. So this is pretty cool. So this is how we can manage our infrastructure as code using CDK. We can test our infrastructure as code using SAM, and we can deploy our infrastructure as code using CDK again. Folks, that's all from this video. I hope this video was informative for you, and you really like this content. I will make more such video in near future. If you like this video, please like, share, and subscribe to my channel. As my channel is very new, kindly support me by subscribing. Please also give your valuable comment and feedback in the comment section. Please check the description box for all the code and the dependency installation things. I will be back with another exciting video, and till then, bye bye and take care.